because you just happened to talk about kind of site readiness and stuff. Specifically, I know that we've worked on some sites where there is rail adjacent to the site.
Yes.
But adjacent doesn't always mean that the site can be served by rail.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about if an economic developer or a community
Mm.
has a site with that rail, what does that process kind of look like? Or like where should they start to really kind of figure out if it can be served? And then like what are some of those contributing factors in terms of like, is it a quantity of cars?
Yeah.
How does that all work?
Yeah. Well, I would say start, we're always a great resource. We will work with any of our communities. If they've got a site they think might be able to be rail served, they can always reach out. We can help with, conceptual maps and kind of doing the desktop analysis on a site to figure out whether that works. And work through some of the potential issues. The class one railroads or your short line railroads are always a great option as well. But we consider ourselves to be one of those resources to do that. So whether they're reaching out to the class one or the short line or reaching to us, that's an important piece. Rails tend to like to be on flat surfaces. They don't like huge grade changes. It can be sometimes you can get rail there, but it is cost prohibitive.
Sure.
So, depending on how many cars a customer might want to use on a site may dictate the amount of infrastructure that you want to be able to, if it's going to require a $10 million bridge to get there, that may not make sense for something that's not using a lot of volume. That said, if it's a huge rail user, that's going to make sense for everyone because, the juice is worth the squeeze essentially to build, that kind of infrastructure to be able to serve the site. So those are some of the things. Like I said, utility conflicts though are like one of the huge things I cannot stress enough in terms of thinking about rail on a site because there's a lot of coordination that goes into how you address those, and it takes more time than folks think than to get a piece of rail onto a site.